Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. Well, our winter of 2010-2011 continues to remain very active, but at least we're getting a small break for today and for tomorrow. Our storm from yesterday that produced significant ice over the interior is now moving into the Canadian Maritimes. There is a weak cold front that is moving through that has a very powerful Arctic air mass behind it. That's why temperatures are currently still in the mid to upper 30s behind this storm, but once this cold front moves through, watch for temperatures to crash into the 30s, 20s, and teens. What does that mean? It means that anything that is wet on the pavement outside right now is going to turn to ice. So be careful for some black ice later on tomorrow morning and again through the next several days, as this cold air mass is not leaving anytime soon. We will remain below normal for quite some time. Meanwhile, we have a developing storm that's forming over the southern plains and another area of low pressure that is forming over Canada. These two low pressure systems are going to combine to create some problems. Let's take a look at the latest water vapor satellite picture. So as of 10 a.m. on the water vapor satellite picture, we could see that an area of low pressure and a disturbance is clearly starting to form over the southern plains. There's plenty of lifting going on and precipitation starting to develop. Meanwhile, we have a strong disturbance that's also over Canada. Now, this Canadian disturbance is taking a normal storm track that we expect in this pattern. It's basically an Alberta Clipper that cuts through the Great Lakes and under normal circumstances would move right through New England without much of a major impact for the northern Mid-Atlantic. However, because of this subtropical disturbance over the southern plains, the two disturbances will phase over the Ohio Valley, redevelop off the Delmarva Peninsula, and then move towards the 4070 benchmark, which is a textbook track for a moderate to heavy snowfall for the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area. The problem is that this low pressure system is going to move awfully fast. Basically anywhere from 6 to 10 hours worth of snowfall, which really doesn't give this storm much time to produce a significant snowfall over the region, especially considering the fact that the low pressure system will be redeveloping off of Delaware and over the New Jersey coastal waters while it's impacting the region. So what I'm expecting right now is a moderate snowfall. A lot of things have to go right for this to be anything more than a 4 to 8 or 3 to 6 inch type snowfall. I know that some are suggesting that a heavy snowfall could develop for Connecticut, Long Island, even portions of New York City. But again, what you would need is for this storm to explode very quickly off the Delaware coast and then have to produce intense mesoscale banding. All of that in a very short period of time is rather rare. It's possible, but it's not something that I'm ready to forecast for. So let's take a look at the latest snowfall map. For portions of northeastern Pennsylvania and the central Hudson Valley off towards northeastern Connecticut, I'm looking at 2 to 4 inches of snow. Yes, it'll be plenty cold enough for snow, that is for sure, and your snow ratios are going to be rather high, but the majority of the lifting and the moisture from this low pressure system will be well to your south and east. Further south over much of the rest of eastern Pennsylvania and specifically around the Philadelphia metropolitan area, down through central and southern New Jersey, I'm looking for anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow. This will be the average type snowfall that you could expect for the entire northern Mid-Atlantic for the most part. However, as we move further east towards central New Jersey, northeast New Jersey, New York City metropolitan area, off towards Connecticut and Long Island, I have 4 to 8 inches as a possibility, mostly because of one factor only. This low pressure system will be intensifying. It will be moving to the northeast, just paralleling the coast. And as a result, with that type of setup developing with the mid-level disturbances starting to converge, there could be some mesoscale banding. So I do have some isolated areas possibly hitting 8 inches, most likely in Connecticut, but I can't rule it out for New York City. Most locations, though, will be in the 4 to 5 inch type range. Again, with the temperatures being so cold, there won't be much of a problem as far as accumulation, so when the snow starts, it'll stick. Further to the south over Cape May and over parts of the southern Atlantic County of New Jersey, looking anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow, mostly due to some mixing of sleet in this location. Otherwise, really, most locations will be around 3 to 4 inches, but we have to take into consideration of that mix at times on Friday morning. The majority of the impacts will be on Friday morning, so watch out for the Friday morning rush hour. Now, are there more storms on the way? Glad you asked. Unfortunately, this winter just keeps on coming. Now, what we have here is the 500 millibar forecast map from the European Model Guidance from Penn State EWALT, and what we have by Wednesday is an intense disturbance over the Tennessee River Valley transferring towards the coast. Now, I want to be careful here in stating this, that the model guidance has a lot of disturbances on the field, and what that basically means is that the models may not have this whole storm situation handled correctly. What we can take from the model guidance right now is that we clearly have a dynamic pattern in place that would produce a potentially major winter storm. That does not mean that it's going to be all snow. However, one of the key factors that keeps on popping up with this time period between Tuesday night through Thursday morning is that we will have a semi 50-50 low and some convergence and confluence setting up over New England, which basically means a high pressure system is anchored around Maine and New Hampshire. That usually is a calling card for some significant snowfall with an area low pressure trying to move up the coast. Whether we see a mix or a changeover to rain will depend on the exact track of this low pressure system. And again, because of all the disturbances that are clearly going to be in this pattern, I will hold off before getting into any details on this storm. Just beware that early next week, more like mid next week, we could be looking at another significant winter storm. Do we have more after that? Well, unfortunately, the long range says yes. Later on in the period, this is on the European Model Guidance for Friday night, we can clearly see that we have a developing negative NAO pattern. We have high level blocking over Canada. We have a ridge developing over the west coast, and we have disturbances diving down towards the southern plains that could track towards the mid-Atlantic. So clearly we have an upper level pattern that could support more storms for the northern mid-Atlantic going forward. The question is, what exactly is going to be the specific track? And as far as cold air, well, let's take a look at 850 millibars. And as you can clearly see, there is plenty of cold air available throughout North America, with Arctic cold air in place from basically the mid-Atlantic all the way through the Rockies. So the cold and stormy pattern does not look like it's going to be ending anytime soon. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.